Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Ricardo Martinez, and I am the CEO and founder of Within the Trenches Media, as well as the host and creator of Within the Trenches podcast. I'm doing this now because I realized in the first one, I don't think I even introduced myself. I just said hello and good morning to everyone and welcome and stuff. So here we are, and we are back. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for the second session, this evening session. We're here for Kickstart Your Career, Invest in Yourself with NENA, the 911 Association. And we're going to be starting out a little different. This time, we're going to be starting out with the NENA president, and this is going to be Jennifer White, and she's going to be going through some information here, as well as part of her Invest speech that she gave at the national conference back in July. We were in Ohio during that time. It is good to see you again, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. For everyone here, we've got a bunch of people joining in here in the audience already. And just a quick reminder, Jennifer, before you start here, for everyone in the audience, if you have any questions at all, please make sure to use the Ask a Question feature. There's also a poll that is in there already. Make sure to answer that as well. And I did give away 5 dispatcher call taker NENA memberships already. I already posted that up, and there's going to be 5 more that I'm going to be giving away during this session, or for this session, those who are here live. So without further ado, Jennifer, please take it away.
Thank you, Ricardo. And I didn't realize that you didn't introduce yourself either, but I'm seeing in the chat that everyone knows you. So there's no need for introduction. So thank you guys for being on and for having me. If you weren't on the call earlier, or if you were not in Columbus for our annual conference, my theme this year, and the theme for NENA and our membership and our 911 professionals looking to invest in NENA or to be a part of NENA, is investment. And so every opportunity I get, you're going to get tired of hearing from me saying invest, invest, invest. And I do that because I want you to give something of yourself and expect a great return. So I want you to give of your talents, your time, invest in yourself, invest in others. And then I promise you, on behalf of the NENA board and staff, and you're going to hear more from them, that we will make sure you get a good return for your investment. So I won't repeat myself. For those of you that were on this morning, we're going to make that, if you weren't, that's going to be available for you to watch on demand about investing. But opportunities that NENA provides, one thing I will kind of repeat on a little bit is people ask me constantly, how did I get to where I'm at, and how did I get to be have the honor and privilege of being your NENA president? And I'll just say that it was the investment. It was my decision to invest in myself a little bit and gain some additional training and education, branch out to my state chapter, which you're going to hear about later on too, volunteer, serve, speak up, become involved. And once I started down the path that NENA laid out for me, I just realized there was so many more opportunities that I had not taken part in. Led me into the NENA Institute Board, which administers and oversees the EMP examination. Obviously obtaining my EMP throughout that as well. And just taking that first step to invest a little bit more. And basically I did that because people took the time to invest in me. All of my mentors and those people that I looked up to in the 911 profession kind of guided me along and took that time. So I felt like I owed it to other people. You don't do any good for anybody if you don't leave an association or a profession better than you found it. And I think that's our goal here. So I just wanted to welcome everybody. I want to say how excited I am to see you all here, taking the investment and the time to learn more about NENA, what NENA is. If you're brand new, just getting started, you may not even know that NENA exists and what they do for you. And so we're hoping to give you some information, shed a little light on what NENA, the 911 Association, does, what we can do for you. I just want to speak on behalf of the board as well and say all of us started in places that were frontline, just like most of you, and have moved through different areas in our career and our time. And we're all willing and begging you to contact us if we can help you at all. You'll have links to our contact information simple phone call, simple email. We'll be glad to help you at all, any way we can. The mentoring program, the wellness program, so many opportunities. Since our call this morning, I saw on social media somebody had taken a chance, applied for a scholarship, and had been awarded an EMP scholarship. So if you're on there watching this or watching it later, congratulations to you, and thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself and to gain that EMP certification. I know you're going to have it by the next time we chat. So thanks everybody for being on. Lots of great speakers today that are way better than me, so I won't keep you. If I can do anything for you, please contact me. I'd love to talk to you more about how you can invest and what you can do in NENA. I'm sure after you hear these great speakers, you're going to think about some new opportunities that you didn't know before. So feel free to contact me and see how I can help. So thank you so much, and I'll turn it back to Ricardo.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for that. One of the things I wanted to ask you here before we move on with Brian, the CEO of NENA, is so I want to look kind of at the 911 Goes to Washington event. How many of those have you been to, and what kind of impact has that been on you?
So I've been to several. I couldn't really tell you off the top of my head how many I've been to, but for me, it opened my eyes to the legislative process. It also opened my eyes, to be honest with you, with the lack of knowledge of some of our elected officials when it comes to 911 operations. And I say that to say it's not their fault. It's on us, it's on NENA, and it's on our 911 professionals to teach the people that are the decision makers about how 911 operates. And so when I went the first time and realized the law process and how legislation goes and what you have to kind of talk to them and show them about 911, and I realized there was so many missing links there, it reiterated to me why 911 Goes to Washington is so important. They need to hear from people that are working in the trenches, that are answering the calls, that are supervising the dispatchers and call takers that are answering the calls. They need to know what you do and what your needs are in order to help you or to keep from harming you. Legislation moves quickly. And Brian could talk for a whole other day on that, I'm sure, and certain of it, because he's on top of it. And NENA follows legislation hourly, would be probably accurate. But, sometimes there's legislation that's coming around that a legislator might think is a good piece of legislation. They might not understand the whole ramifications and the impacts that would happen if they support or oppose a bill. And so it's our job to go and sit down with those legislators. And 911 Goes to Washington gives you the tools you need, gives you everything you need to talk about to your legislators other than your personal story. But they want your personal story. And that's why you're so important to be an attendee at 911 Goes to Washington. Take that time, go sit down, follow up with those legislators, and then you'll make relationships with them that will last for years.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite events to go to. The first one I went to, I will say this, and for those who are watching, if you've never been to one before, get ready, because the whole day there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and by the time you get back to your room, I mean, you're ready to crash, because there's so much stuff that's going on, but also a lot of different sessions that you're listening to, but also that you're putting in information for. And then when you go and speak with your reps and all, and you're educating them, just like you were saying, it's not only fun, but of course, eye-opening as well on what people know and what they don't know and what they don't understand about not just 911, but like dispatch and how certain things work. And when I went the first time, I was there doing demos, because there's the showcase that's going on, the tech showcase for the NG911 Institute, and I was there with the company that I was working for as an industry partner at that time. And I remember they had told me that all I really needed was my work polos, And then I'm walking around and everyone is dressed to like straight up business style, suits and everything. And I remember walking around thinking, okay, next year I'm going to be looking awesome like everyone else.
Yes, and comfortable shoes. That's always a plus. But
Yes.
my overall message for 911 Goes to Washington is, if not you, then who?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not going to be you that's going to take these issues and talk about them and educate the powers that be, then who? And if it's not somebody that has the passion and the desire and the understanding of how 911 truly works, somebody's going to educate them. So if not you, then who?
Perfect. Thank you so very much for joining us once again, and good luck to your son, right? Who's playing today. You're going to an event, and be safe, and yeah, good luck to them with their team wins. That's awesome.
Thanks so much. Thanks everybody for being on. Thank you.
And I'm going to be bringing up Brian here in just one moment. Let me switch here.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, sir. For everyone who is watching, this is again, this is session number 2, and we have the CEO of NENA, and this is Brian Fonts. Take it away, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ricardo. And I very much appreciated Jennifer's comments because it ties into so much of what NENA is all about. Who is NENA? What is this organization all about? This organization is about investing in its members to allow them to become the very best that they can be in the 911 profession. We provide those tools and means to allow you to excel in the job that you do. And I'm going to go through some of these things to help refresh your memory, if you will, about those opportunities that NENA does provide. First off, NENA is known as a standards and research organization. We are ANSI accredited, it's the American National Standards Institute. There are a number of standards that we have developed that are used throughout the United States, Canada, and elsewhere in the world. In addition to that, we just had approved by ANSI our next generation 911 or I3 standard. And there's a whole family of standards that have been developed to provide next generation 911. For those who are interested, Canada has used our standard nationwide for their deployment of next generation 911, and several states in the United States, as they begin to their deployment of next generation 911, are relying on NENA standards for that process. But standards isn't the only thing. We do a lot of training and education. We offer courses, webinars, certification programs such as EMP, CMCP, and you'll hear more about that a little bit later. We offer conferences and events. Our annual conference has roughly 90 plus sessions, educational sessions or breakout sessions, to allow you to learn more about your profession. All of this is designed, again, to allow you to become the best you can possibly be in the profession of 911. We provide outreach and advocacy, and I think Jennifer and your question, Ricardo, with respect to 911 Goes to Washington, touches on this. In our outreach and advocacy efforts, we work in industry negotiations and agreements. We certainly engage with government, from the Federal Communications Commission, the 911 office, and certainly Congress and other federal agencies. In dealing with Congress, there are 2 key issues that's facing this Congress that affects 911. That first issue is reclassification of 911 professionals to be on par with our public safety brethren and sisters, so that we can enjoy that status of a true public safety professional. In addition to that, we are working on funding for next generation 911. And this has been such a frustrating process, because initially we were asking for and hoping to get $15 billion. The House then came to an agreement of $10 billion. And then after the Build Back Better framework was actually executed, it was substantially reduced to $470 million. So you can imagine the frustration level at each bite of that apple. And unfortunately, we continue to have to deal with the morass, if you will, of trying to ensure that there's adequate and full funding for Next Generation 911. But that's part of the advocacy program. We have our Thank You 911 program that reaches out to the public. For all of those 240 million phone calls to 911 made each year, there's the opportunity for these people to say thank you to 911. And this has been a valuable program that has generated opportunities for scholarships and to just get 911 professionals recognized for all that they do. And I think that is an important function. The other things that the association and its membership enable in reaching that goal of being the best 911 professional is that you get connected. You get connected with a number of your colleagues at the local, state level and other states, as well as in the federal level, to be able to have conversations that oftentimes you think you're the only one experiencing this particular problem or this issue, or is it just me, or is this a broader issue? And when you are connected, you begin to realize what you can do and what others can do to improve your lot and their lot. And so that is an important aspect of getting connected. So when you join NENA, you also have the opportunity to join your chapter. Currently, there are 52 chapters of NENA around the country and Canada. And this is an opportunity to engage and get connected at the local level so that you know somebody in the next town over or somebody, half the state away, that you become professional friends and being able to address and to work with each other to look at those issues that are local in nature. By local, I mean state. And then also collectively, you can benefit to work together in the federal area to help in our influence in legislation. So the chapter membership is a very key, important aspect of your NENA membership. The other thing that NENA is particularly interested and pleased with is our whole effort to get ahead. And getting ahead involves not only the connected aspects that we talked about, but also industry best education and training and certification programs. This is vitally important to all of us in 911. And we are pleased to report that we have 40-hour basic telecommunicator course to an online course to a 40-hour center manager course, EMP certification program. We have 1-hour courses, multiple courses online and in person. And our education and training leads you to advance in the profession so that for those starting out and you're looking down the road, where do you want to go within 911? These certificates, this training enables you to make those professional advancements to help your career. So those are a few of the important benefits, if you will. One other aspect about NENA membership, and this is, and Jennifer touched on a little bit, it's called her thing is invest. And I really absolutely believe in that. I call that getting involved. It's getting involved in the profession, getting involved in the association. It's getting involved in the various committees and working groups that address standards or education or health and wellness issues. This type of involvement will benefit you as you learn, but will benefit all of those others who participate in these opportunities along with you. So getting involved is, we provide the forum, if you will, to enable you to get involved, and your involvement will certainly improve your professionalism, your understanding of the issues 911 professionals face. And so I encourage you to recognize that aspect of NENA's membership. You simply also get value. If you're talking about investment, you want a return on your investment. And your return on your investment is really the value you derive from your membership. And so what this does do for those who are members of NENA is recognizing that you too deserve your basic support and investment in you. So you will get discounts in conferences, events, education courses, webinars, and some of these webinars are absolutely free to those who are members of NENA. In summary, with respect to your membership, you certainly get membership in your local chapter, vitally important. You get a subscription to the Call magazine. The Call magazine contains a number of articles dealing with a variety of issues, from mental health to workplace cooperation and collegial relationships, to diversity and inclusion, to technical issues. And these are written by knowledgeable professionals, experts, if you will, in the industry. So you get those benefits associated with the Call. We provide a bi-weekly newsletter, and this allows you to be current in those issues that face 911. I think it's important to, oftentimes you just click through your emails and you may not spend the time reading it, but I encourage you to do so because it contains a lot of very important, very current information. I already mentioned you get the discounts in courses and conferences, free webinars. You get access to members only section of our website, which allows you to create this social network. And social networking in today's world is important so that you can talk to one or many people with respect to questions that you may have or feelings that you may have regarding a particular issue, and recognize that you're not alone, that if you're having this question or if you have these particular feelings, the likelihood that others have it is quite high. And the ability to figure out through your conversations with others in social media how to address these concerns that you have. And so it's a way to recognize that you're not alone, that there are a lot of folks who are similar in the variety of questions that you may have. You also gain representation in Washington, D.C. and at the state level. There are times where we are called to testify at state levels for a variety of issues, ranging anywhere from reclassification, 911 professionals, to funding and new technology issues. We offer so much more. And I encourage you to take the time to look at what the investment in NENA means to you in terms of the values that you derive from that investment. And there are opportunities in terms of group memberships so that all within your 911 center can become members and share the information that you've gleaned from this with others, and have that type of opportunities to get the best bang for the buck. In group memberships, you get reduced cost of membership. You also get certificates that enable you to apply these certificates to courses or registrations for events, which would further reduce the cost of any of these events. So I ask you to take a look at that as your center may consider looking at group membership. One other thing that the board decided to do fairly recently is that we created a retired membership class. And this is important for those individuals who want to remain active in 911, but have retired from the profession. And oftentimes these individuals have such expertise, knowledge, and just plain wisdom that they've gained through the years of experience in the 911 space. So this class of membership, I think, is important and encouraging for those people to remain engaged. And in the staffing problems that we have today in not only the United States, but elsewhere in the world, there's been an effort to call upon these retired individuals to help where help is needed for these centers so that they can remain providing the quality of service that they're known to provide to the members of their communities. So I am appreciative of the board's efforts to look at those people who are retired to look at their value to the organization. So I'm going to be quiet at this point and open it up to our next speakers. And I want to thank you for the time today. And please do take a few moments to take a look at the value of NENA as an organization and your membership to that organization, and then also the return on that investment to you personally in your quest to become a better professional. So thank you very much. And Ricardo, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you very much once again. And before I drop you off here, I want to ask you a quick question, and that is about the Standards and Best Practice Conference, and as well as the Critical Issues Forum. What is that like for you? You've got all of us that are coming into this event, and there are so many different topics, so many different things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And for me, coming in the very first time I attended SBP, it was in Columbus, and I didn't know what to expect. I had been asking April Heinze about it and stuff, and she was telling me all different types of things. The only thing that was different is that I wasn't going in, and I was going in for the sessions. However, there was also a session that I actually ended up speaking. I was presenting as well. There was a panel. It was kind of a TED Talk type thing, and my boss at the time, the president of InDigital, Mark Grady, was actually the one who was supposed to be doing the session, and he had to fly out I think the day before, and we were sitting
Remember
that night, and he's like, "This is the session. You're gonna have to present this, and good luck. You've got this." I'm like, "Mark, this is how I'm coming into this." So it was like, whoop, just threw me in. So, but it was awesome. It was amazing. So, that was my experience. But what is it like for you every time that you have done this event, and you've got everyone coming in and taking charge and trying to make change with all of these different topics?
First off, it's exhilarating, it's exciting, it's impressive to see the talent that comes to these events, both from the public sector of 911 and the private sector of 911, all working with the common goal of improving the lot of 911, whether it's technology or operations issues, etc. So it really is exciting to see the advances made. Earlier on, I talked about our work in standards and best practices and these types of programs. And the standards best practices event not only addresses the current working on issues, but it also raises the potential of new issues that we're going to be facing down the road. And to formulate a discussion on that, to begin to see that evolve, it's being introduced, and then the next time we meet, you'll see it moving further down the line. And it's one of these things where it's fun. It's thrilling to see the intellectual curiosity, the willingness to sit down and roll up your sleeves and to participate in some of these working groups, to learn and to recognize that, wow, you can make a difference just by participating. And in doing so, yourself, you become a little more educated, informed. And, we all look to those people wherever we may be in our profession that were always ahead of us. Wow, how did they do it? They did it by taking the first steps. And in large part in the SBP, that's taking the first step. For others, they've been there before, and it's an opportunity for those that have been around the track once or twice to help those who are approaching the track to get on that track and to work for their own professional gain. And the Critical Issues Forum, I think, is important because these are very specific events where we're talking about key issues affecting 911. This year, we're going to be talking about staffing issues and those types of concerns within the 911 center. Staffing issues have ramifications on mental health, stress, work fatigue, the balance between work and your personal life. And so there's many facets to the staffing issues that 911 faces today. So hopefully we'll see not only you, but others there in San Diego. So thank you.
Awesome. That'll be good. Thank you so very much for being here once again, and just talking about everything. And I'll be bringing you back up here at the end when we go into QA. But I'm going to drop you down here, and we're going to pull up the next person. And our next person here is going to be Halcyon Frank.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, my friend. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So we just heard from Brian, and he was talking about all of the the different options here, the retired membership, the just everything, the benefits, and also there's the Gold Line scholarship, and that's what you are going to be talking about here is the scholarship, because you got one a few years ago, and there was so much stuff that has come from that as well. And I just want you to be able to share your story, and just I guess kind of the process maybe, and then where you go from there, because there's a lot that happened during that time.
There
Take
is.
take it away.
Okay. So I was able to receive the Gold Line Scholarship in 2019, which was only 2 years ago, going on 3 years, but feels so long ago with everything that's happened in between. So speaking to the process of it is a little more difficult just because it was so long ago. But it really was simple. It was a form a friend had recommended, hey, fill this out. If you're selected, you get to go to the national conference. And that at that time, I was really starting to find my way in dispatching. I had been in it for a couple of years, really developing more of a passion for it. So for me personally, too, it really came at like really good time, because then I was able to move forward on that, and kind of already starting to, dip my toes in the water and able to go to the conference. So I was selected, able to go, which from then on has kind of been even beyond my wildest expectations and dreams of what I thought could come from that. First, you are able to attend a class. So that time I did the advanced law enforcement dispatching, because I was at a center that was law enforcement only, which was incredibly helpful. And I got to meet, people from across the country that were also in the class as well, attending the conference. Being somebody who kind of nerds out on dispatch and loves to talk about that stuff, in my center, maybe on a local level, like when I started really talking about it, it's like that people's eyes glaze over. So if you're like me and that's your thing, when you go to a national conference, a NENA national conference, or even a state one, you'll kind of notice that a lot of people there, their eyes don't glaze over, which is really exciting to encounter after you've had the opposite happen. So that was a really exciting time for me as well. And there's just nothing like being at that conference and just being immersed in the industry with people who share the same passion, drive, and interest in it as well. And getting kind of that concentrated time to talk about stuff. So I know Jennifer talked about investment, and then Brian's talking about ROI. My 5 to 10 minute investment in filling out that form is still paying out dividends, still seeing return on that investment. And it is just a small part of NENA, but it can be such a huge thing. I mean, since then, I've been able to go on and do different events, speak at different conferences. My network after that kind of just like exploded more than I even would have thought. That's where I met Ricardo. So it's kind of literally how I got to this moment. Definitely would not be here if it were not for that conference. During the pandemic, having other dispatch professionals to reach out to help me navigate and help my center as well. When it came time in my center for a promotion, it was really, really helpful then to have that network of information, but also then the knowledge that I was able to get from all of those to show to my leadership, this is my experience. This is what I'm familiar with. This is, kind of my network of people that I'm able to reach out to as resources as well. So it even came into play in that way as well, as far as moving my career forward in the PSAP. And outside of it as well, again, meeting all the different people, connecting me with other people, has really been one of the biggest things. Like I said, Ricardo, I met Gary Bell, which, of course, is life-changing once you meet that guy. So it really was a positive experience. Like I said, there's nothing like being immersed in that in a national conference and getting to talk to people who are equally passionate and driven, and learning about the different industry partners, learning about those processes and procedures that you didn't even know existed, I attended sessions and learned things that I didn't even know that was a thing. And so it really just expands your view and gives you, more of like a national, global view of what's going on in dispatch, and that there's so much to get involved in, beyond just, your little center. This year I got to collaborate on a document like at the federal level, which is, very exciting. And again, I can guarantee that none of those things, and I say none, but majority of the things that I've been able to do in the past couple of years because of being at that conference would not have been possible. It really was kind of that catalyst that put me on the track that I'm on now. I made a whole list, but that pretty much sums it up instead of reading a list. And there's some free food and some free drinks and all that fun stuff as well. But overall, it really, the scholarship itself, when you put that 5-minute investment in, you're going to see it come back to you tenfold and then some, especially when you take advantage of the opportunity and, put in the work to kind of match the opportunity and go from there. But that's all I'll say about that, unless anybody has any questions.
No, that's excellent. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing that part of your story. Now, I want to kind of jump in a little more here, because I just, and this is what I've heard from people a lot, and it was the same for me. The first time I was at a national conference, I was blown away. Just walking into the expo hall alone, it was just like, look at all this. Like, where do I even start? What was that like for you, going into, like the convention center, seeing all these different people, and especially when you're walking into, the expo hall there and just seeing everything that there is, all the new technology, the different sessions, the training, just all of it. What was that like?
I mean, for me, as someone who enjoys training, that was like Disneyland. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many sessions. How can I go to all of them at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Seeing all like the different vendors and what they have to offer, it just, I don't even know necessarily how to explain it. Like, it's overwhelming, but it's exciting at the same time, because you just have the opportunity, and you have the opportunity to connect with so many people in a short amount of time in a smaller space, that you would never connect with them otherwise, besides maybe now with the pandemic. I think it's become a little easier because we're all relying on the virtual path to do that. But yes, there's just people there that I would have never probably run into otherwise.
And then some of the sessions that you ended up going to, I mean, you end up, you're talking about how you went to all of these sessions, you're learning different things, meeting new people. How did you bring that back to your center? Because there's so much to take in, right? There's so many sessions every single day. And like you said, you want to be able to go to all of them, but there are certain ones that you choose, and then you bring those back to your center. What was that like for you? What were some of the ones that you brought back?
Let's see, I remember typing up like a whole, like an email, like to my supervisor, like, these are the sessions I attended. This is everything I've learned. This is what you can share with other people. And I don't like, I can't even remember because it was so long ago. But I remember even just like learning about like the cybersecurity one, but also working kind of like the trafficking aspect. And it was fascinating. And the agency I was with at the time was just kind of developing an apartment in that area. So I was able to be like, hey guys, here's some resources that, even on the sworn side, kind of let them know like, hey, here's the information I have. Like, do you guys have this? I know there was different training ones. It's kind of all like a blur. I mean, it was only like 2.5 years ago, but
right. And there's a lot that that you've come away with, and a lot of things that you've done. And I don't know if you saw this in the comments, but I just want to read this really quick. But someone here in the comments says, Halcyon, you have been a huge inspiration to me and my career. Love hearing your story.
That's so nice. Thank you, Emily. It really was a game changer to be with people who were as passionate as I was and really got it and didn't, just be like, yeah, cool. Like I said, their eyes didn't glaze over. Like, they really were like discussing it with me. And I'm like, oh, like, you're engaged. This is new. I've never gotten past this part of the conversation before. I don't know what to say now.
I don't know what to do next. I'm right there with you. I'm a 911 nerd as well, and when you go to a conference, or whether it be state or national, whichever, there's like, even on the calls for the working groups and everything that that you're working on, just hearing everything that's going on, for me specifically, I've a lot of times just been in awe. Just wow. Like there's all of these awesome people who are working on this stuff, and there is so much more to what we're doing in our center. And I think it's important for people to, as we're talking about, all of this, to be able to invest in yourself. If you, come from a center that, can't afford it, or, maybe they're just not doing a lot of stuff. I mean, just be that voice. You can change a lot of things doing it yourself. And of course, investing in yourself, and, going there just like you did. It took you, what you said, 5-10 minutes, just that investment, and boom, here we are.
Yeah, and it does when you go and you bring it back to your center. That's how I found out what the EMP was. So I was able to get that earlier this year. So then others in my center are now looking at getting their EMP. I mean, it just, even one person, that simple, subtle influence just by your actions, it just, pays off and rubs off on people.
Perfect. Well, thank you so very much, my friend, for being on. And I'm going to bring you back up here at the end with everyone else, as we've got, there's questions that are in here already, but we'll be going through all of those together here. So again, thank you for joining. And I'm going to pull up our next person here. All right. Dan, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, Ricardo, how are you?
I am doing well. It is good to have you
Good,
back. And for
good.
those who are joining in and we're not part of the first one, this is Dan Koenig. He is EMP, CMCP, and he's going to be talking about the value of chapter, but also we'll be talking about EMP, what it is, and why is it and why it is important. Thank you very much, and take it away.
Okay. First of all, actually, Anthony's going to be talking about the ENP. I'm going to do the CMCP portion of it. First of all, I'm going to say everything starts at the local level. Once you have your chapter membership, after your national membership, you get a chapter membership. As Brian said, there are 52 chapters in the country. Each one has their own set of responsibilities. They all come together as one. Again, 911 is very standard across the country, but each state has different things that they have to look at. Each state has different focuses. Obviously, for Florida and us in the Southeast, we have one that is hurricanes. And, something that we focus on. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. Some background noise. But again, that is one of the easiest ways to first get involved is through your local chapter. Reach out. Most of them have either social media, a Facebook page, a website, but reach out. They all have committees that mirror the national organization, but also have separate ones unique to their situation. And again, I have to say, I was very fortunate. A week and a half ago, I finished my term as president of Florida NENA. I cannot tell you how much fun I had, how much I learned. It was just an incredible journey. I'm glad I was very skeptical going into it, and I wasn't sure about how much I wanted to get involved, but I would not change it for the world. And I would just recommend anybody to do that. With the second part, again, I've made so many friends, so many great training opportunities. One of them is the CMCP, the Center Management Certification Program. This is, I've been to many leadership programs through different fields and different avenues. CMCP is the one that relates to 911. It covers every aspect of leadership, from technical aspect, operational aspects, human resources, staffing. The networking capabilities are incredible. You have people that have made the same commitment to 911 and public safety that you have. It's a very high level course. I will tell you, I was shocked when I first went in, because you think of training, well, there was homework. But I have to say, though, even with the group of people that I was in the class with, it wasn't homework, because we found ourselves all staying in the class together beyond the 5 o'clock time limit, sitting together, networking, doing the homework together, talking about different things that affect us. Obviously, across the nation is staffing. But when we had to do some homework on staffing and how it affects each center, I mean, we were there for hours just again networking with each other. And I have to say that's probably one of the most valuable resources in NENA is your fellow members. I mean, the greatest information I've got is through my fellow NENA members, people that I've met again, Ricardo, Anthony, Halcyon, all of you. I mean, if I have a question, I don't think twice about picking up the phone and reaching out to somebody. And again, I usually speak pretty quickly, and I'm going to turn this over. But the one thing I realized that with one of the things that CMCP did for me, I know we're calling this Kickstart Your Career, but the great thing about CMCP, it actually helped jumpstart my career. I'll say I was getting a little stale in what I was doing. Everything was kind of the status quo, and I wasn't excited about my job as much. CMCP kind of like relit that fire, and that's why I say kind of that helped me jumpstart my career. And I got more excited about it. And that's when I got even further involved with NENA through some of the different work groups, moving on within my chapter leadership, and just again, meeting such a great group of people. As I said, my term as Florida president is over, but by no means is that my end of involvement with the chapter or with National NENA. And I think that's about it, Ricardo. Sorry.
All right. Thank you once again for coming
Yes.
on and sharing all this information. For there was a question that popped up here, and it was something that we talked about before we got started. And what I want to do is I want to bring actually Anthony on here really quick, and because I want to ask the both of you this question, and then we can add Brian as well towards the end when we go through these questions again. But so someone had asked earlier, and so the question here is there a suggested order if one was interested in attaining both EMP and CMCP? And I'm asking the both of you because you're both talking on each one, Dan CMCP and then Anthony EMP. So just I guess kind of your thoughts. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I see someone did answer here saying, I recommend CMCP before
Yeah.
EMP. You will gain a lot of useful knowledge during the CMCP course.
And I'm going to say, I think it is number one, where you are in your career and what your actual profession is. The CMCP, I mean, it's a lot of great general knowledge with human resources, team building, leadership skills into press releases and public appearances. So it does, but it focuses on center management. Again, I think I may be answering one of the other questions also in this too, but there are a lot of members outside of the center that are also members of NENA. We're talking about industry partners. I mean, I started off as a first responder on the road with EMS, fire, and police. Transitioned over to 911 communications. Yes, I was in the center, but now I actually work for one of the 911 authorities where I provide the ESINet and the equipment for our PSAPs across Palm Beach County. So I'm not really hands-on in the center anymore. So for that avenue, I'd say the ENP, I would, for anyone, obviously it's a very individual choice.
Awesome. Thank you.
One thing for me is that I haven't been able to get into a CMCP class yet. The EMP is relatively easy to obtain by the fact that you can study on your own and you can learn what you need to learn to pass the exam. It does give you a good baseline of knowledge to get moving in as far as technology into things and some of the management techniques and things like that. But it's just as far as the EMP, it's much easier to obtain it on your own because of the limited availability of the CMCP classes.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, I'm going to drop your window down here.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us here once again. And Anthony, welcome back. And for those who were not on during the first session, this is Anthony Summers. He's going to be talking about group membership versus individual, as well as EMP, and is the assistant director out of West Baton Rouge, also a past president of the Louisiana chapter of NENA. Take it away.
Thank you, Ricardo. On the group membership, we talked about this earlier today in the session we did. Here at our center, we decided to go with the group membership because we wanted to get our staff more involved in NENA. At the time, we were paying for just a few members to be members of NENA and didn't really have any involvement from the rest of our organization in NENA. We've been able to transition to the group membership for a little bit more than what we were paying for those few members to be few staff members to be a member of NENA, and it gives the dispatchers, our telecommunicators, more opportunities to be able to get information and read the call and get benefits and things like that. That's one of the biggest reasons why we switched over to the group membership, and I advocate for, especially for smaller agencies that don't have a big budget, or even the larger agencies where there's a lot of people, that it may make more sense when you look at how much it costs per person just to be a full member and not have the rest of your staff engaged, to go ahead and pull the trigger and get a group membership, because I've been a big advocate of group membership in the state of Louisiana for centers like mine. Moving on into EMP, we had discussions about speaking about EMP in our on the membership committee with NENA, and I wanted to speak about EMP because it's when I first started out, I had no idea what EMP was, and I had to learn what it was. And back in the day when I started out, there wasn't really any good information or resources like the NENA website to be able to go see how to get an EMP, order a study book. And now we were looking earlier today because I have a person that now works under me that is in a more of a management position. We were looking at the fact that there's a practice test that you can go take online before you go sit for an exam. And the EMP, it gave me a lot of knowledge and education and the technical end of things, because I had no idea what a selective router was, how the selective router worked in 911. I had a little bit of knowledge about NG911. Of course, that's getting to be a bigger thing, so I'd imagine the newer version of it has a lot more questions on next generation 911. Now, the other sides of things that it talks about is emergency management. Now, because I have wear dual hats and I'm also an emergency manager, that was relatively easy for me. There's more the learning the 911 standards, the terminology, and the technology. And I see somebody made a comment that EMP isn't easy. It isn't easy to get. Now, one of the things that's offered now, if you get on the NENA website, there are study groups out there to where you can get together and you can study, because it is a lot of information. I mean, the test is pretty broad as far as the topics it does cover. But the good thing about the EMP is that once you get it, you're going to show that you're involved in NENA, because you're going to be sitting on committees, you're going to be going to conferences, you're going to be getting training. So it's a certification that you have to be involved to be able to get the certification. So you're going to network with people. You're going to reach out and meet people. It's in fact, the EMP, if you look at it, it's a good certification to have if you do ever want to move on or move up in an organization, because if you look at all the job listings out there on the NENA job board, most of them say EMP preferred, because of the baseline knowledge that you have. And there's it's a good way to invest in yourself, also investing in NENA, or investing in being involved in getting things moving in the direction we want to go to for the future. And with that, I know I'm pretty short and sweet, but I know that having EMP really is one of those things that when you go to a conference and people find out you're an EMP, they want to know more, and they want to know how they can get their EMP, because that's how I found out how to become an EMP back before there was search engines. I saw it on somebody's business card and asked them what it was, and I started down that path. And it took me a while to get there because, just like I said, the information wasn't there back then, but it was well worth the experience. And so, Ricardo, it's about what I have on that.
All right, excellent. So my question for you here, and it kind of went through it a little bit, and as I'm looking at the comments here as well, so it wouldn't be wise probably for someone to just go straight in and take the test without any studying, right?
Oh no, you definitely need to study, and you definitely need to get in a study group. One of the things I was actually talking about today after the first session with my employee was the fact that we need to work on in Louisiana getting more EMPs, because I saw the list today. There was only about 10 of them, and I'm one of them. Then so I think that it just shows that we know what we're talking about when we go out and we talk to our legislators, we talk to our bosses, things like that. So I think that it would be well worth to get, and with the technology and the ability to do Zoom study groups and things like that. I mean, I think it'd probably be a lot easier than when I got it. I was actually when I got my EMP, I actually thought I failed the test, and now I see that I believe you can even take the test online. You don't have to actually go to a proctor site. Back then, you went to a proctor site, you took the test, and then you had to wait 30, 40 minutes to find out whether you passed or not.
I have seen a lot of friends who have been part of study groups and such, and have ended up putting out there that they did pass it, but they were waiting until they found out for sure because because it was a hard test, and they weren't sure if they had passed or not, but they passed, and they were so excited and stuff, and it's so awesome to be able to see that. But yeah, I've heard the same thing. Like, it's not one that you can just go in and take it. There's studying, and there's a lot to it.
There is a lot to it, and that was probably back in the days when you had to wait by the mailbox, and if you got the little envelope, you knew you failed. If you got the big envelope, you knew you passed. I mean, I was a little bit luckier that I was able to go to Proctor test site down in New Orleans, and I knew a couple hours after, like I said, about an hour after I took the test whether I passed or not.
Oh, that had to have been nerve-wracking.
Well, it was definitely nerve-wracking, because I was so nervous the day I went down there. I left the paperwork I needed sitting on my desk. I had to get one of our dispatchers to scan it to email it to me, so I could actually go sit for the test.
It looks like I'm looking at the comments over here, and Josh here in the audience says, I've added EMP to my 2022 goals list, which is awesome. Dan says, don't be afraid to go through more than one study group if you want. And then Bree, of course, mentions here too that remote testing is now an option. So that is awesome. That is very good. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to bring everyone back on the screen here really quick as we go into the QA portion of this. If you have any questions at all, please use the Ask a Question feature. And I'm going to go through these couple here, and then I have a video at the end to show. So let me bring everyone back up on screen here for the wrap up of this. I'll be bringing them up here one at a time. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. And all right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. And I want to go into the questions here. And it looks like someone has answered for this first one here, but I want to get some info from you as well. And so it says, how does one join a NENA work group for those who may not know or may not know where to start? And this could be for anyone, whoever wants to jump in to answer.
Well, for me, I was kind of voluntold. The regional director of our area for NENA was at a conference and said, "Hey, you want to be on the membership committee?" So I'm on the membership committee now. But I mean, they're all on the website for sure. And then each state chapter also has working groups. I mean, we have in Louisiana, we have right now one of our biggest working groups is the Next Generation 911 community working group. So, yeah.
I've heard a lot from people about being voluntold for certain things, but it seems like lately when I've heard this term, that voluntold has turned out to be one of the best things that has happened, because they ended up experiencing someone that or something that they would have never done before, and they come back with a lot of knowledge. So sometimes those voluntold moments end up being pretty good. Dan, wasn't you, didn't you say that
Yes,
earlier? Right?
yes, yes. And actually, I mean, my entrance into NENA, again, being voluntold, but honestly, I think that was the grassroots version of the mentoring program. It was somebody that saw something in me and said, you know what, you seem to have a passion for 911 and, you know, everything that goes into it. You'd be great, you know, to do this. So again, I think that's probably what now formally is the mentoring program. The same thing, you know, find somebody to kind of guide you through, because NENA is a large organization with, you know, many different facets, and you kind of do need somebody to help navigate through and, you know, get you to the place where you want to be.
Excellent. Now, the answer here, someone did answer, like I said, they said if you're interested in the NENA development working groups, check out the different committees and they put the web address in there, so that information is in there as well. So make sure to check that out. One of the other questions here was a comment and then a question in here as well. So it says, I know I was surprised to learn how many people in the organization weren't dispatchers. What other skill sets sit in the organization? So that's the first question. And then it goes on to say, what do you think attracts these individuals to our cause?
I'll take the first stab at that, and others
Sure.
can chime in. I think that's one of the benefits, I think, of association membership in NENA, is the fact that those people who join NENA have a keen interest in 911, whether you're a dispatcher, manager, supervisor, whether you're in the private sector or government sector, where they want to come together and work cooperatively to figure out the best path forward for 911 or for an individual's professional advancement. And I love the fact that there are those individuals, this multifaceted group of membership coming together and working to benefit 911. There's so much to learn from everyone.
Excellent.
No,
And
and I mean, oh, I mean, I agree. If you look at how many people are actually involved, you know, we think of a 911 call as the caller and the call taker. But if you look at the technology of what made that call possible, there were so many hands in that between the carriers, our call handling equipment providers, network providers, you know, one of the biggest things as we move towards the next generation, GIS. I think that's part of the question is GIS is a big part when you see, you know, both people now at the membership level that are coming from the practitioner side and also our industry partners. A lot, you know, GIS is a big part, but again, it's one of those, I hate to say it, but it takes a village. There's a lot of people that go in to make that, you know, to make that phone call, to make that 911 call work.
it does. And in our state, we're seeing a lot more people that are involved more in GIS joining NENA. We have a lot of people from different organizations. That's all they do is GIS. They know that their product supports 911, but they don't necessarily deal with the taking the 911 calls.
And that's one of the things to throw back up another commercial for the group membership. But for our group membership, that's kind of what we use. The people, they're not really hands-on involved day to day with 911, but they're helping prepare our GES data to go to a new ESINet. So they need to know, they need to know the standards, and they need the same information that we get to make sure, again, the entire system works.
Yeah, that's actually one of the big things we're working on right now in Louisiana is developing standards to be able to develop a repository with our Department of Transportation for roads and maybe hopefully eventually address points for on the GIS side of things, because it's just so important to have all the geographic information as we go into the next generation now in the world.
It also speaks to, because there are so many people that come in, just kind of circling back to the invest part, it opens up your network, your connections. You know, if you find that maybe dispatch isn't where you want to spend the next 20 years, but GIS or the technology or something else really interests you, being part of NENA and connecting with those people provides you, potential opportunities down the road as well.
It's very true. Very true.
Excellent. Well, that is all the questions here. And before we go to this video to round off this the second session of this town hall, I want to go to Brian really quick, and I just want to ask, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to in these next events that are coming up, whether it be SBP, 911 Goes to Washington, or National that's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky?
Sure. I'll start out with a very basic, and that is to see people again, to engage in dialogue and discussion, to listen to the messaging that others make in real human interaction. I think that's so important. In addition to that, of course, is the substantive aspects of the various sessions, for example, an annual conference, or the opportunity to, 911 Goes to Washington, it's so much fun and so rewarding to listen to our members after they come back from meeting with members of Congress or their staff, because it's an eye-opening experience. It is their opportunity to influence their respective members of Congress, whether it's a congressman or a senator, and it has such value to 911. And then certainly for SBP, and I talked about that earlier, it's just so exhilarating to see all the things that are being worked on and things that are on the horizon that will come over time to fruition. And I think this is the exciting parts about that. One of the things I wanted to say is that, and I'm looking at the dates here, the Standards and Best Practices Conference is January 17 through 20 in San Diego. 911 Goes to Washington is February 13th through 16th, and that's, of course, in Washington, D.C., and our annual conference is in Louisville, Kentucky, June 11 through 16. So hopefully I'll see everyone there and have real live human conversations.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much. I'm going to pull a video up here really quick for everyone who is here and is watching, and I'm going to mute everyone else's microphones here really quick. And as I'm getting this set up, what I want to mention as well, as we're talking about some of these conferences and these events, especially national, I just wanted to share something really quick. And a lot of you who are watching right now, you do know some of this part of my story, but everything that I do now started out at a Michigan NENA conference, and then I was catapulted to the national conference. And Brian, I don't know how much you were involved in this or anything, but I remember when I was at the Michigan NENA conference, and Ron Bono was there. He had done an episode with me. I was doing an episode with Jim Marshall and Deanne Somerset, and he was off on the phone. And after the episode, he ends up coming up and he says, "You're going to the national conference." And I remember saying, "Oh, okay. What does that mean?" Because at that time, I didn't know anything about the national conference, and I ended up being there. And I just wanted to say thank you to not only you, but to the entire organization of NENA, because that's where everything really started rolling. And I have been, we've partnered up on a lot of things since that time, whether it be the podcast zone or different sessions and different things that we've done. So I just wanted to say thank you as well. And for all of this, it has been an amazing experience.
Well, you're welcome. But it also underscores the fact that you've made a personal investment in 911. So thank you.
It has been awesome. So I'm going to start this video here. And again, thank you all very much. And let me mute all the microphones only so that there's no feedback as I'm doing this here. So here we go. Perfect. Thank you all once again for joining us, and have a good night, everyone.